We've got myself tonight. Good evening from Scoop, and of course my buddy Brandon here with me. Tomorrow, obviously, got What's the Scoop at normal time. We will be joined as usual by our buddy Rob at that time, and but in the spirit of the fact that this was opening night in Major League Baseball, we wanted to jump in with a post game show. We were going to do this win or lose. Just going to make that clear. We're going to just win or lose for this opening game tonight. But I always start off WTS by saying that the four words that I've been waiting to say all week, the four words I've been waiting to say since October 2025. Start spreading the fucking news. Here we go. Okay, so buddy, you and I just finished watching that game. That game went final. Anybody who did not see the end of the game or didn't watch it, it was a New York victory over San Francisco, 7-0. It was a very bizarre. It felt basically like if you were somebody who went into this season wanting to see basically the antithesis of last year's team. Like if you thought us running this team back this offseason meant that we were going to see the same team we saw last year, this team looked like it was doing everything they could today to look the complete opposite of what they were last year. We saw a lot more aggressiveness, swinging at the first pitch early in the count. We saw a lot more just not letting them get more outs. They talk about in Little League, don't give them more than 27 outs. We saw a lot of that today. The one question I will start off with, and this is a little bit tongue in cheek, is did every freaking member of the San Francisco Giants bet on New York to win this game? Because what in the flying hell was I watching out there from San Francisco's side of things? Like we definitely were better. We were pitching well to San Francisco, and we were hitting well off their pitchers. But some of those mistakes I saw them making in the field, what the was that?
Yeah.
I get that, there's a lot of turnover there. I get that they've got a first-time manager in Tony Vitello. Those aren't excuses for that thing to happen. That would get somebody benched in 12U.
Yeah. Some of those were nasty. It's just like you can't. The one thing they always say is not only give them don't give them more than 27 outs, but also just don't be throwing the ball around the damn field. Like if there's no chance to get somebody out, like I get the one. Like it's like you have to eat it. Like I know it might seem like you're trying to get it all, but you also gotta realize too it's opening night. Like you don't you want to win every game, but if the other team is just hitting the ball like it's all like it's off a tee on Logan Webb, and you realize that you're not gonna be able to get some of these guys out at home or get them out at third, second, what have you. Just eat the ball. Just play smart baseball.
Yeah,
like it's just. Because it's like, it doesn't contribute. When you're coming out the gates, it's one thing to get beat 7-0, to get shut out in the start of the season. All eyes are on you. It's already bad enough to get shut out, but to get shut out while you're throwing the ball around the damn field like it's a little league team, that's bad all the way around.
It really is.
I mean, but the thing is, I know the Giants have quite a few names on that team this year. But to me, I think there's going to be a little bit of a learning curve. I mean, obviously having a first year manager this is unprecedented, never gone straight from college to the pros.
Yeah.
And he was never a pro at any level, player, manager, coach, what have you. So it's going to be an all kind of, just going to kind of ride this wave this season over there in San Fran. No pun intended, probably. But I think that, I was shocked to see. I mean, I like Logan Webb as a pitcher. I was shocked to see, and surprisingly, I thought that Aaron Judge was going to have a big night off him because this is a guy that
that was the next. I'll let you finish. Then I'll add what I was going to say.
Yeah, because I mean, this is a guy who you literally just played with in the WBC, and it's like. And it's like, and Logan Webb was good during that, but he had a couple moments where his pitching was spotty. And I'm surprised that everybody else, but like usually we're saying, last year we were saying, oh, it's Judge and everybody else. This year, this game was everybody else and then Judge.
Well, that's what I was saying. The last thing I was going to add when I said, the antithesis of last year's team is last year it was Judge picking up everybody else. Tonight, Aaron Judge was the only person not anywhere in sight.
Yeah.
And also because we have to mention this because it's baseball in 2026. We had the first experience for Yankees baseball with ABS tonight, and it was Jose Caballero. And now the call was not overturned, so New York did lose that challenge. But I kind of loved that it was Jose Caballero because at the end of last season, he got ejected twice in the playoffs. He came over as, the king of stolen bases in the American League last year from Tampa in a trade that nobody was expecting with a division rival. We traded Everson Pereira, who kind of was like that guy who kind of was always that sort of square peg in a round hole on this roster. Like it just, I don't know. There's just something about Caballero that I just have loved ever since he came over. And I think that I know it's 1 out of 162, but I wouldn't be surprised if this team goes somewhere special this year. I wouldn't be surprised if Caballero is a big part of it.
Yeah, me neither. I definitely think at the end of the day, and I even said, and the thing is, I can also forgive the little blemish he had in the ninth inning. That was a tough hop he took. But at the same time, it's nice to actually see your shortstop get the game started with a hit, that an RBI hit. It's also good to, it's just good to see. Even though it's just one game, it's good to just see the entire lineup, minus Judge. But Judge always starts slow. But
yeah, he does.
But it's like it's nice to just see the entire lineup actually put together good at bats. Put together like no guy went down on 3 pitches hardly ever tonight. Every at bat was 2-2, 3-2, 1-2, but fouling off pitches. Like they made the pitchers work tonight. They made Logan Webb work really hard tonight.
They did, and it's opening day, so he's. People will sometimes try and naysay it with the excuse of, oh, they're hitting off their 4 and 5 pitchers. Logan Webb is not only the Giants' ace; he's an ace on a good number of teams. This is a good pitcher to be able to rough up in the season debut. Barnes, real quick with you. Brian Bernabe just came in and said, "Let's go Yankees." Barn, good to have you in tonight. And yeah, absolutely. It's people are going to probably chime in either. We're going to see it here. We'll see it on X. People are going to chime in and say, well, how are they going to do this without Aaron Judge? Aaron Judge is the last person I'm concerned about.
Yeah.
Aaron Judge is the last person in baseball I'm concerned about aside from Shohei Ohtani. Yeah. And like you said, he always starts slow. Call a spade. He did not have a good WBC in a lot of ways. And it is what it is. He's never been as they say, a spring chicken. And quite frankly, have teams and fans out there that want to judge your best players on your team for what they do in April and May. I'll judge mine on what they do in September and October. Mm-hmm. And judge for whatever it was in the beginning, like first 7 or 8 years of his career, because I refuse to say the other combination of 2 numbers. But for any of that has largely turned it around over the last couple of seasons. And again, if he starts slow out the gate, so be it. I'd much rather see my concerns assuaged about the Ryan McMahons of the world, the Austin Wells, those type of guys, and I'll bank on perhaps the greatest right-handed hitter of all time. I'll bank on him figuring it out before June. Yeah. And also, I have to stick my neck out here, and I have to pat a few people on the back, and that's those of us who were in the camp of, can we stop pretending that bringing back Trent Grisham was a bad move? Please?
Yeah.
It's not like we gave this guy the Ellsbury contract. Okay, it was 1 year for $22 million, and it was because our shortstop at AAA hasn't figured out how to hit yet at the highest level. Okay? This guy you can easily move off of in the middle of the season if he doesn't continue to play like he played today. And note to self, if he continues playing like he played today on both sides of the ball, I wouldn't be surprised if this is not his last year in New York. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of baseball left to be played. There's a lot of projection there, and Spencer Jones can turn it on in any second. And we all hope that he does, and he comes in and does what everybody has been telling us he can do. But I'm fine with Trent Grisham as my center fielder for 2026. I'm good with it. There is a championship caliber lineup and defense on in 2026 baseball that exists that has Trent Grisham playing in center field.
Yeah.
So I just, because I was hearing it all damn off season. I was hearing it from Yankee fans. I was hearing it from Yankee critics. I was hearing it from ball knowers. I was hearing it from ball non-knowers, whatever the hell you want to call those people. The Dan Orlovskis. Although shout out to him, he actually did just have a very good take earlier today that I'll get into tomorrow. But I just, like you said, this was a holistic team effort.
Yep.
Now, is there the chance that the Giants are just going to have a really shitty year? Excuse me. Is there a chance that they're going to have that, and that we just probably that we just beat up on the equivalent of a AA squad? Of course, we don't know yet.
Yeah.
But how many times over the past 20 years have you and I both watched the end of an opening day game and said, opening day doesn't define everything. We'll come back at it because we got our asses handed to us on the first game of the season. We did the ass handing tonight.
Yeah.
And you know what? If after games like this, if Aaron Boone wants to go back to his signature, we put up some good at-bats tonight, you're damn right we put up some good at-bats tonight, Aaron Boone. All right, Brandon, go ahead.
And it's the best part about tonight, because we've been saying it feels like ad nauseum for the last at least 2 years.
Yeah.
It's like, thank God you scored all 7 runs without the long ball. You finally learned how to put the ball in play consistently.
I mean that was going to have to happen at Oracle Park. Oracle Park is a freaking cave.
But it's like every ball, outside the McMahon single up the middle, that was kind of like just kind of hit them where they ain't kind of thing. But every other hit in that game was a missile off the bat. It was hard hit, and it was good hitting.
And that's where I talk about how there's room at the table for both like the eye test and the analytics people, because what does analytics say? Hit strikes hard. What does the eye test say? Hit the damn freaking baseball.
Yeah.
And that's why people who say that those two things don't say the same thing pretty much ever. That's why I love shows like ours where we can kind of juxtapose those things.
Yeah.
Because there's some things where just good baseball is good baseball. And I'm sorry, but if you're bunting 3 or 4 times tonight, you're not freaking scoring 7 runs. I'm sorry, you're just not. And I get you can win games and have to win games sometimes 2-0 or 3-0. But if I can win a game 7-0, I'm going to win a game 7-0.
Yeah.
And like you said, I love that this was able to be done without the long ball. I thought that the last couple of years, I think that they can't win without the long ball at times was a little oversold. I think that was a little bit of a lazy narrative at times, but at times it was just flat out true. Yeah. And you know what? If you can put up 7 runs with Aaron Judge being a freaking the biggest black hole, quite literally the biggest black hole, because he's 6'8" and 290 pounds, even though he doesn't look it. I mean, you put his 290 next to CC's 290. I don't know how the hell it looks so different, but
that's the thing. That's the thing too, is that let's say that Aaron Judge did hit tonight, you would have beat them 10-11-0. So it's like,
and that's like if Aaron Judge can put up what do they call it, a platinum sombrero, whatever the hell they call it. If Aaron Judge can put up one of those and you're still winning 7-0, shucks. And you know what? And you know what? I just love the this has nothing to do with numbers or any of that, but just the fan in me. God, I just love that it was a freaking former Giant, Camilo Doval, who came in and slammed the door at the very end.
Yeah.
I just love seeing guys go out there and shove against their former teams, except when it happens against the Yankees. But shout out Esteban Florial at Cleveland, who randomly became freaking Albert Bell for a couple games.
I will say Doval. The command was a little bit shaky, but it's the first game of the season.
It's the first game of the season, and for one inning relievers, I can live without I can live without pinpoint command,
Especially in a
especially
7-0 game, just get the 3 outs.
yeah. Well, that's just it. Like you're okay throwing, not pitching. I don't really love that phrase, but like you're okay with that. Like you can get away with that in a low leverage situation like this. I mean, for crying out loud, we went to Brett Hedrick in the 8th. It's probably gonna happen 3 times this season, and it's gonna be with a 7-run margin like this, up or down. So I mean, in the 9th inning, I mean, I wouldn't have been surprised to see literally Caballero himself go up there on the mound. And I don't think they could have done nothing against him neither. But I want to get into some, I'll say, technically I would say preseason questions, but I'll just say beginning of the season questions. So we saw what happened today. Going into this season, this being game 1, you have, I mean, we talk every year about X factor players, right? Your X factor, or if you want to name a couple of them, your X factor player for the Yankees this year, where if they're going to be at their peak, this guy has to produce the way that he can be expected to produce. Your pick is, or picks, take it away.
I mean, just based off what we saw tonight, you could say damn near anybody. I mean, because you could say, I mean, Ryan McMahon, because we know he's great with the glove, and if he gives us that tonight, offensively, you would love that. I still think, in my mind, and I still think he could be the Yankees' probably second best player this year if he continues if he rolls through this season and really starts finding his groove.
Yeah,
I still think it's Ben Rice. I can't imagine a world like if Ben Rice tears the cover off the baseball. The thing is, even tonight, like even I mean, I think he had 1 hit tonight, or 1 or 2. I don't know if he had. I know he did have at least 1 hit tonight.
Yeah.
But even when he fouls the ball off, it's a missile off the bat. Like everything.
That guy has my favorite swing since Greg Bird, and honestly, maybe even more than him.
And the thing is, tonight also defensively, he looked great. Really, he had He had a couple picks. He had a couple picks. I was like, okay. I'm like, Ben Rice last year doesn't make that play.
Yeah.
Ben Rice this year makes that play.
I hate him behind the plate, but at first base, give it.
Yeah. So to me, I think Ben Rice is the biggest X factor. But if I had like a mini one, I'm glad you said him before, because I was going to if you didn't. I still think it's Cabby. I think Caballero is still the guy, because when you have a guy who is the stolen base king in the AL, when you've got
on a team that notoriously doesn't steal bases,
and if you can have him, like, he doesn't have to bat 300. If he bats 250, 260, and gets on base enough and steals 40 bags, that is huge for this team.
It is.
So
I also want to throw in there as like a spinoff to that. If for anybody who subscribes to The Athletic, first of all, if you don't, you should. But for anybody who subscribes to The Athletic, there was an article today. I want to say it was by Tyler Kepner, but I could be wrong on that, about why and how the 300 batting average benchmark has kind of gone the way of the dinosaur. Highly recommend checking it out. I just thought of it because you said the 300 thing.
It's, and why? It's because, like, people got to realize is that, hitting 300 is still a big accomplishment, because it's that old saying in baseball, you fail 7 out of 10 times, you're still a successful player.
Yeah.
But it is hard to hit a baseball no matter what era it is. That's why I hate when people are like, oh, well, this guy in this era and this guy in that era. I'm like, no, like,
I mean, to be fair, I do think it is a little harder when they're throwing 103 miles an hour. I do think that's a little more difficult.
Yeah, but I'm saying like it's like I always look at that and I'm like, it's comparative to your era. So it's like,
oh, absolutely, yeah.
So it's like, guys back in the day, it's like, yeah, they didn't throw 100 miles an hour, but they threw 85, 90, and they had a ton of break on their ball.
Yeah, so and also the hitters were not training the way that these hitters are.
Exactly, yeah, it was different. So that's why I always tell people, hey, it's like it's comparative to the era. Like, and I know back in the day you have more guys batting 300 and 400, but it wasn't like everybody was doing it. But it's like I think about it, nowadays, where I'm like, to me that benchmark is 250. If you bat 250. And if you bat 250, but your OPS is around 750, 800, you'll take that any damn day of the week. Any day of the week.
Especially if the guy's playing up the middle with solid defense.
that's basically all the Yankees need Caballero to do. We're not asking him. He's not a home run hitter, so we're not asking him for that. And you're not asking him to be like, listen, if he drives in a couple runs, so be it. But you're just asking him, hey, we need two things out of you: decent at the plate and decent. Like, you can't be worse than Anthony Volpe batting 210, and not just 210, but the OPS being in the 600s is not good.
No.
But we just need him to bat, at least 240, 250, play solid defense, and get on base because you have speed. So
like
if you do,
like Billy B and Moneyball, can he get on base?
he's like guys like that are the unsung heroes of World Series champion teams.
Yeah.
So
Ernie Clement, shout out to my hometown boy, Ernie Clement.
Yeah. Like it's like
and that's what we were talking about back in October.
Mhm.
Was like, how often is it really the team superstar that's having the big moment in October? It's the Kirk Gibson type.
Yep.
It's the it's the Aaron Boone. It's it's which by the way, probably my least favorite take in all of baseball as a Yankees fan is the fact that they wish Aaron Boone didn't hit that 2003 homer so he wouldn't be the manager right now.
Yeah.
My face just did a Cody Bellinger just then thinking about that. But anyway, go on.
And speaking of Aaron Boone, what I was surprised at, because usually opening day you'll see, and we didn't talk about this yet. Usually opening day you'll see starting pitchers go 4 or 5 innings, whatever it is. I'm glad that Max Fried went 6 1/3.
He let him, as they say, they let him cook.
They just let him. I was like, yup. I was like, listen, if he's being as economical as he was after that second inning, let him go.
I think it also helped that we had the lead that we did. I think if we didn't have the lead that we did, I don't think that might have necessarily been handled this. But I would have handled it the same way. With a lead, I'm like, let him go.
Yeah, let him go.
If it was closer, I'm probably going for the fresh arm. But I don't mind if he ends that game giving me an extra couple outs and giving up a run or two. Versus using a high leverage arm with a 6-run lead. Like I don't see the point of that. And
the thing is, we talk about how Max Fried is a ground ball pitcher, pitches to contact, and I hated the narrative last year that he doesn't pitch to get strikeouts because.
Well, he's improved on that since he got here. I think he went through the Matt Blake factory.
Yeah, that's part of it. That's one thing I brought up to people last year when Fried was pitching was like he added an extra strikeout or two to his average. So I'm like, he actually pitched really well last year and struck guys out. And not just that, but I mean, if you go back to that first inning and they had what was it, first and third, 1 out. That big the thing is, I don't care if Max Fried strikes out 12 to 14 guys, whatever it is. It's the timeliness of it. That strikeout he had when it was first and third, 1 out, and I think he struck out, was it William Adames? I forget who he struck out, but he struck one of them out. It was kind of lower in the little bit lower in the order.
Yeah.
But he struck him out, and I'm like, that's a big strikeout. I don't care if he doesn't get, if he doesn't have 2 strikeouts an inning. I'm like, that strikeout is a huge one because then the next guy, I don't think the next guy didn't strike out. But the next guy, I think, flew out or whatever it was, and that's the end of the inning. So
it's also there's a big difference between the guy hit the shit out of the. Sorry, I'm cussing a lot tonight, but there's a different. I'm fired up. There's a difference between the guy crushed the ball and the defender just happened to make a great play, or the guy just made absolutely no contact and the ball was carried a little bit by the wind or something. Like you can just, and that's one thing that I go to like Statcast for and whatnot, or Baseball Savant, is like how hard you hit the ball matters, because if you hit the ball 104 miles an hour, it's decidedly more chance of it being a hit, just based on the pure physics.
Unless you're 2025 Ben Rice.
Yeah. Just based on the pure physics of having to get the freaking ball, than it is if you're hitting it, 87 miles an hour. But I'm going to go back to what you said. Like I'm going to go back to even before the game even started, because I said this too. I'm pretty sure it was in the group chat, or I might have said it to you directly. I think it was in one of the group chats, but because we're in like 7. It's all the same people. I don't know what the point of that is, but anyway, if this lineup tonight completely flopped, then I should never have anything to do with making a lineup, because this lineup is exactly the lineup I would have made. Mm-hmm. I love that it had Judge in the second slot. I love that you had Ben Rice as the cleanup hitter, the guy who is like raw power, The complete hitter. Put Judge the complete hitter at 2. I keep saying second. I meant the 2 spot. Put him and put Bellinger above and Stanton below. That 1 through 6. That is. You can say what you want to say about the 7 through 9 guys, which are historically mostly defense first players anyway. That 1 through 6, I don't care. That 1 through 6 can go toe to toe with any 1 through 6 in baseball.
Yep.
And actually, real quick, because you had talked about the how 250 is the new 300 last year. You want to guess what the American League batting average, like literally the average batting average, was for the American League in 2025? Like every player in the American League.
I want to say it was a little bit lower than that. I'll say 242.
Holy crap, you're close.
What is it?
It was 244.
That's about right. Yeah.
Yeah. So forgive me if I'm not, completely out there losing my mind because the guy's hitting 265. If he's also giving me solid defense and, getting extra base hits or, a bunch of homers or stealing bases or whatnot, or even taking a bunch of walks and not striking out, like if he's giving me something else on top of the hitting in the 260s, I'll take hitting in the 260s because, just compare, like you said, comparatively to your era. And again, that's why I use stats like OPS plus or WRC plus. If they are comparative to not just the parks you're hitting in, but your league and your era. I'm just throwing a little bit out there for people who ask why I use these numbers and think that they're made up. Newsflash: every stat was made up at one point. And actually, to do my half of answering the question, you said the guy that I'm going to say or one of the 2 guys that I'm going to say for my X factor. If I'm a fool for it, I'm fine with it. I'm dying on this hill. I think we're going to get a bounce back from Anthony Volpe. A healthy Anthony Volpe is going to come back. I don't know that I think he's going to have to push Caballero. I don't think that they're going to automatically start him when he comes back healthy. I think he's going to have to push Caballero a little bit, especially if he plays like he did tonight. But they believed in Volpe for a reason. And yes, they flopped on prospects, a decent amount, like every team has. But Volpe was a 2020 player for a reason. And I don't mean 2020 as in the COVID year. I mean 20 homers and 20 steals. You don't see that a lot, especially from a first-year player who plays the middle infield. You had Gold Glove level, and I don't think you necessarily think he should have won the Gold Glove, but you had Gold Glove caliber defense from a guy who was not a natural shortstop. I've said it ad nauseum. This guy should have played second base. If Oswald Peraza could hit a lick instead of going to the Angels, where for whatever reason they love our sloppy seconds and middle infielders for whatever reason, because I got him and Tyler Wade and God knows who else. Somebody check and see if Ramiro Pena ended up there at some point that I forgot as well. But can you tell I've had too much coffee tonight? But
yeah.
But when he comes back, in fact, and again. If Jay's watching, Jay, I'm not trying to hate on your boy. Again, if he has a fantastic career year, we all win, and he wins because he goes and gets his bag. But if Jazz does not play well enough at second base, trying out Volpe at second, giving Caballero the everyday shortstop position, and figuring out something about maybe moving him back to center field or moving him over to third base, depending on what you do with McMahon. They have that's what I love about the Yankees this year. They have options.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of playing guys out of position, but at least you have the options if necessary. And that's where I wanted them to. That's when I want you to be able to play guys out of position. It should be an in emergency break glass thing. I don't necessarily want to see you playing Jed Chisholm at third base because some jackoff who's now playing in Detroit is not willing to play another position because he's doing the Rafi Devers thing. Newsflash: you don't have the bat to be Rafi Devers, just so you know. That's why you're in Detroit now. But just with all these things happening, and I think Aaron Boone has the opportunity to do a lot of things with that lineup this year.
Yeah.
And again, I know a lot of fans, fought with me about it this offseason. Would I have loved to add another pitcher, especially with the injuries that we had? Yes. Do I love that Ryan Weathers was our big pitching addition this offseason? Not necessarily. I probably would have liked one more guy. But again, this was a team that I genuinely believe that just because like what you needed really last year was the guys that you had to play up to what they should have, what they were capable of being. Like just because a guy comes from outside doesn't mean he's an improvement. The improvement that you needed was from the guys that are hello, how you doing? The improvement that you needed from the team was from the guys already in house. And
Yeah.
so I do agree with them in that regard. And forgive me if I wasn't thrilled about the idea of going out and getting Bo Bichette, who basically was an expensive version of Anthony Volpe. Except that Volpe at least had the regression after he was hurt. Healthy Bo Bichette is a hot take of the night. I'll take a healthy Anthony Volpe over a healthy Bo Bichette. I will.
I can see that. I mean, as much as you know how I feel about Bo, I could see that though.
Yeah,
I can
and
see
also, and because I said that there was two guys, and it's almost in the exact same vein as Volpe, so this is probably no surprise that it's the other side of the coin. Jason Dominguez.
Yeah.
Jason Dominguez, he's the other guy who was a top prospect who we held out of trades, who everybody was telling us he's this, that, and the other. Now, again, plenty of people this offseason, including my guy Joel Sherman from the New York Post, has said he was valued more in-house than he was by the rest of the league. So it's safe to say that I'm no longer expecting the guy, not that I ever was, but it's safe to say that I'm no longer expecting the guy to be Babe Ruth or Mickey Mantle. But that being said, you've got an outfield now that has Bellinger locked in long-term, and obviously Judge ain't going nowhere. Judge better be in a pinstripe till the last second possible.
Mm-hmm.
So, and for whatever reason, Dominguez last year was about as much of an eyesore in left field as I was in 12U. Why you put the guy who can't run in left field, I don't understand. But so I don't know if that looks like this year they put Dominguez in center field and they move Bellinger back to left. In that case, I don't know what you do with Grisham. Like I don't know what that looks like. I don't know if you phase out Stanton over time and you make Dominguez the everyday DH, which I would not like to see, but that is an option. We're saying options here. But Jason Dominguez, I think what you do with him is going to be another X factor and perhaps the other major X factor in this season, because you had high expectations for him and you built a good amount of your team or at least a lot of your future philosophy around the idea that he was going to be an impact for you on the field and in like what we're now hearing about Spencer Jones in center field long term. What you expected out of Dominguez was supposedly 5 times that.
Yeah.
So the fact that this is now suddenly a situation where you need, like, I understand not having a spot for him right now, just not thinking that he's ready to be an everyday MLB player. I understand that because clearly at least in the field, clearly he was not, or at least in left field, he was not. And we all know that left field is no picnic in Yankee Stadium.
Mm-hmm.
But he, I think, is the other one where just, again, I trust Volpe. I trust Judge full season. I trust that better be the last time I make that mistake. I trust Bellinger full season, even though he struggled in the playoffs last year. I trust Ben Rice at the plate. That guy has a special bat.
Mm-hmm.
And it wouldn't surprise me if that guy emerges as our best hitter outside of Aaron Judge. Now, so I trust those guys. And you could make the case, I think, also for Austin Wells, but I didn't hate Wells' defense last year the way everybody else did. It's just his bat was so bad that I think it made his defense look worse. But I didn't hate it. I didn't hate his defense last year. And you know that I'm taking defense first at catching, unless you guys want another Gary Sanchez. I'm good on that. Thank you very much. But so those are my two. But I just he in particular, like when looking at Dominguez, what a confounding situation for this guy. Like, how do you go from we can't move this guy? This guy's going to be the linchpin of our outfield for years to come, and all these things. And he's a 5-tool player, a 6-tool player, even because they also talked about his intangibles. How do you go from that to just we don't know what this guy's going to be at the now? Again, I know as a general matter, you don't know what any prospect is going to be, but my goodness, just like what happened for this guy in his development over the last couple of years, for them to really think that, and then Jody's coming in with the classic Jody remark. Excuse me, sorry. Someone get this guy a new banjo because his only got one string and has played the same note for the last 2 years. But Jody, in all seriousness, it's good to see you and happy opening night going into opening day.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so do you have any thoughts on either one of those guys, Volpe or Dominguez or anybody else, obviously? But those are my two where I'm just looking at this team doesn't reach its ceiling this year without one or both of those guys being much closer to their own individual ceilings than they were last year.
It's tough for me because it's like I'm still in the Dominguez camp. He just turned 23. It's not
that's
like
that's easy to forget, and for myself included, that's really easy to forget.
It's like it's because he's been signed since he was 15, 16. So it's like it's understandable that's like, okay, he's been here a long time. Like,
yeah, that's such a weird thing. Roderick Arias is another one I do that with. Like, it's so easy for me to forget he's so freaking young still.
Like, it's like, to me, like, we keep talking about, like, Spencer Jones isn't up yet, but Spencer Jones is older. Spencer Jones is 25. So
yeah,
like
he's around Judge's age. Jones, even though I didn't consider him an X factor, but Jones, I need to see him make his debut at latest opening day next year. I need to see him make his debut opening day lineup next year.
Yeah, and if they don't have plans for him, like if we get to the end of the season and they're still thinking, hey, next year he might not be ready, then go. Because it's like you can't keep holding on to the point where he's got no value whatsoever at this point.
No, I'm sick of these quad A players that Peraza turned into, and Davey Garcia turned into, and Chance Adams turned into, and Justice Sheffield and every other.
Like it's like he's, so it's like he's one thing, but when it comes to Volpe or Dominguez, it's like they're still young. Volpe obviously has way more experience at the major league level, and it's just so his leash is. I'm just surprised that they're kind of keeping both guys like. I don't get why Dominguez and Volpe both kind of have the same leash when Dominguez really hasn't been given that much of a runway compared to Volpe. I mean, I get it with the injuries and whatnot with Volpe, especially last year with Volpe. I understand that. I'm just like, okay, so Volpe is a middle infielder. Hey, if he can't play short, he'll at least he probably wouldn't say no to playing second.
No, I think the guy would catch if the team told him to.
Yeah, like so it's like I kind of get that. I get that he'll do whatever the team needs, especially if he's not playing well, he'll try to go to another position, maybe unlock something. Yeah. But I'm just not understand. Like Dominguez last year got like people for some reason last year. I mean, and I get it because it was Dominguez's first real taste of a good season. The first 2 years combined, he only played 26 games. He played 8.
And make no mistake about it. Last year, offensively, he was not bad. It was his defense that concerned the hell out of me.
Because I mean, like that's why I keep saying to people, I'm like, we know that the bat, and the thing is, it's not just that. Like, he played 123 games. He stole 23 bases. Like, this wasn't
I constantly forget that shit.
Like, he is so fast when he's on the base path that it's like,
oh hell yeah.
That's why I'm like, this was a guy last year that was like him and Jazz seeing who could go first to home faster on a hit in the gap. And it was like, and both those guys are up there in terms of speed. So it's like,
oh god, yeah.
Like
that was my most excited. That was the most excited I was about getting Jazz over, was that we finally had somebody up the middle who could actually, move like an up the middle player should.
Exactly. Like Dominguez has the bat and the speed. The only thing is the glove. It's like,
well, that was my concern though, is if this guy, like, again, this guy can be a successful player if he becomes a DH only. My thought is just that restricts your lineup so much, and it also. How do you go from somebody who was such a highly regarded prospect at center field? Like, it's one thing to go from center field to left field. It's one thing to go from center field to right field. It's one thing to even go from center field to second base or first base. Going from center field to DH only, like, did your legs fall off?
Like, that's what's driving me insane is I wish I could be behind the scenes and see what they're seeing. and because I really need to see what the issue is of not putting Dominguez at his natural position in center. I wish I knew because
You and me both, I've tried to this motherfucker. Sorry, um, but and I've tried I've dug around in Yankees social media areas. I've dug around in news circles. I've asked people I have genuinely tried to dig that thing up because it is probably it might be the most confounded I've been about a Yankee prospect since maybe the Clint Frazier situation
yeah,
or Jackson Frazier, whatever he calls himself now.
because, because they keep like we with other prospects in the past we've heard like, oh, like, this is the issue with this guy, and then here's like some numbers as to what's the cause, the cause, or what the issue is, whatever it is. But it's like all we've heard with Dominguez is the problem is not his bat or his speed, it's his glove. But they're like, oh, well, he can't feel. But I'm like, but we've never seen him play physically at his natural position. I'm like, so it's like I didn't, and clearly they keep saying, oh, well, we see something in center with him that we don't like, so we're gonna move him to left. And I'm like, but
give me a second here. Well, yeah, I mean, you can keep talking. It's just, I'm trying to figure something out. Inconsistency with what you said.
Yeah, like I'm trying to figure out what there's Nikki.
Who's Mickey? Oh,
Nikki.
Sorry, I don't have my hearing aids in. Nikki saying Scoops and Brandon, what's up? Nikki, hope your cookies came out well. And whatever else you were doing tonight, packing for whatever.
But that's my biggest thing is I really just like there's times where I think about this roster and I think about players who I've just had a high opinion of, and Dominguez has been somebody I've had a high opinion of for the last basically since his rookie debut.
Yeah, you and me both.
And I'm like, okay, well, we know like we're saying, we know that the hitting and the running is not a problem. It's just, but it's like it sometimes it keeps me up at night thinking about what do they see that's a problem in center that they have to play him in left, and now he can't field in left, but then they won't move him back to center. So I'm like, it's driving me crazy thinking about what that reasoning is.
Yeah, you and me both, and I this is also driving me crazy. Is there's supposed to be on Baseball Savant, there's supposed to be a minor league option, and for God knows what reason, I cannot find it anywhere. But I 2023, I don't care about that. But while I keep working on that, it is like you said, it's confounding to me that we'd have this level like again, it's just the level at which the guy was regarded. I couldn't think of the word for a second. The level of which the guy was regarded at his or for his defense. Like, you don't put a guy in center field because they're an okay defender. That just does not happen, right? So knowing that, like, how do you just decide? Like you said, how do you just decide that? Oh, okay, we're not comfortable with what this guy is laying down for us at center field, and it's. I'm bugging out now because I literally am. Oh, okay. But it's just I'm struggling with the fact that they just are not. And that's one thing that I do have an issue with this current administration, this current just personnel with the Yankees, and that's in general. I'm not saying Boone specifically. I'm not saying Cashman specifically. In general. I wish we got more transparency with things like injuries and whatnot.
Yeah.
Because something smells to me like he had a more severe injury than we realized at some point, and they just aren't comfortable. Like a Brett Gardner type of thing, where they just are not comfortable with moving him back to that position. But I just don't know why they wouldn't be more upfront about that. But again, especially in New York, and you should know this by now if you're working for the Yankees, especially in New York, if you don't tell us the answers, we're going to speculate on our own. And again, I obviously do not know what the situation is or anything of that nature. but there's just there is too much that is not. I mean, you talk about the eye test. This too much is, as I say, not passing the smell test here, in terms of how they got to the position that they apparently got to with him. Because you said a few minutes ago, you know, the guy's only 23 years old. Yeah, the guy's only 23 years old. So how have you already decided basically this guy can't play his supposedly natural position?
I, it's just driving me. It's like I said, there's nights where I go to bed and I'm thinking about the lineup. Like I'm actually thinking about the Yankees lineup. Like if we
Yeah, you and me both.
and I'm like, damn man. Like I'm like, I really wish I knew, but at the same time, I think that at some point he's gonna get a shot again. Um,
Yeah,
remember it's only opening day or opening night in this case,
yeah.
but
Well,
so it's like there's still a lot more. Obviously, there's 161 plus postseason left, so I think at some point, what? Hey, it could be next week, it could be next month, it could be the All Star break. At some point, he's gonna get another chance this season, and it's just
yeah.
hey, if it's his last one, okay, but at some point, you know. They gotta you have to see what you got in them, and I wish they would show more of the AAA games on TV or whatever, like to see some of these
Yeah, I
guys.
try and find them as best as I can, but the main thing, because again, it's like MLB.com. It's very similarly they want you to subscribe to their, which
Yeah,
I'm sorry, I don't know who's paying that much money to watch AAA games. I really don't.
no, that's all right. I mean, today overall it was a great win. It's a great job by Max Fried. It's a great job by the entire lineup minus Judge, but
Oh
that's okay.
yeah,
Um,
again,
and
if Judge is literally the only player who struggled in the first game, I'm willing to take that.
yeah, and it's just like I said, not you kind of not the guys were. I noticed today too, at least from what I saw with a lot of the swings, was that it wasn't so much swinging for the fences. They were just focusing on making contact, which I like
Yeah.
to see. It wasn't like a lot of uppercut swings. It wasn't guys swinging violently at the ball trying to hit one, 500 feet. It was, hey, see ball, hit it hard.
Well, it's also even the people who talk about like exit velo and launch angle, like yours truly. It was never about swinging hard or swinging violently. A lot of players have said that some of the best exit velo and best launch angle you get is from like swing easily, swing let your natural strength kind of do the work and just have a I forget what they say. It's not a clean plane, but it's something of that nature.
Yeah,
Um, and it's just and that's why I said last year it's like it's not about not using exit velo and launch angle and things like that because that's what the teams like the Dodgers are using. It's not about that. I don't care about what ingredients you're using if you're or sorry, I don't care about what you're trying to make if your ingredients suck.
yeah.
And the unfortunate part of it was just that the manner in which they were making them, the manner in which they were using them just seemed like it was
And
misguided.
and the best part tonight, and I think it kind of goes a little bit, it flies under the radar. And this is kind of going back to what I said at the top of the show about the at bats, is they made every Giants pitcher tonight work.
Oh
They
yeah.
and because every time you looked up, Logan Webb was in a 2-2, 3-2 count, or 1-2, but the guy was fouling off pitches. So it was
Yeah.
like every count was 6 pitches or more. It felt like every count was like guys literally those at bats quite literally to borrow a standard phrase, but to borrow a Boone phrase, the guys were savages in that box tonight,
Oh yeah.
and it showed too. It was like because you're also dealing with a lot of, especially with Logan Webb and with their pitching staff, a lot of movement, a lot of kind of 12-6 movement, a lot of sweepers, a lot of sliders, a lot of changes. So a lot of off speed and a lot of movement.
Breaking. Yeah.
And and you know, you you basically kind of you look at those at bats from previous years, and I've seen a lot of times where the Yankees hitters go up against guys that are like that, and they're just swinging right over the top of pitches. And it was tonight, seeing guys just kind of spit on some really good takes that they had tonight, spitting on some pitches that were a strike coming out of Logan Webb's hand but dipped out of the box were nice.
Yeah.
Um, And then just I didn't like I was saying, just to kind of go along with the swinging, the bat path stuff. We talk about like clean swings, clean plane,
Yeah.
all that stuff. Like in previous years, I saw like looping swings on some of those pitches, but
Yes.
there were some pitches down the middle tonight where I'm like, good, they're attacking that ball, straight swing, just not even not chop down at it, just straight bat path, clean through the ball, right
Yeah.
down the middle, perfect. I'm
Yeah.
like, that's what I want out of you, because there's so many years where I'm seeing, well, it could happen this year, God forbid they slump again, but in the last couple of years, there's been times where I've seen them take like either, you know, where it's a strike right down the middle and they swing underneath it. And I'm like, if you just, level your swing out, you're gonna smack that pitch.
Yeah.
And and tonight too, and I guess this was part of the game plan, and I like this, was Logan Webb throws a lot of first pitch strikes. I think the Giants, they said the Giants pitchers in general like to throw a lot of first pitch strikes. The Yankees knew that. And so when you're seeing a guy who has a lot of movement, yeah, but he's throwing first pitch strikes. So it's like you're not sitting up there worrying about the movement and if he's going to throw it, if he's going to throw something that breaks out of the zone. You're just worrying about, hey, if I see a strike, hit it. And that's what they did tonight. It wasn't so much of like, kind of wait for your pitch and kind of figure it out. It was no, if you see a strike, no matter what pitch it is, hit the damn thing. And they did.
So, um, yeah, I couldn't have said it like much better, and I think that was very to the point. Um, Also, to kind of spin off of that, I want to just kind of add something that I told you I was doing a little bit of background work on the Dominguez saga. Um, I will say I unearthed a little bit of information that, and again, this is very surface level, so I'm not going to make any more of this or than what it is. Um, in 2024, which is his last full year in the minor leagues, Jason Dominguez at center field, he committed 4 errors in center field.
Mm.
Nobody else on the Rail Riders had more than one. And you'd say that makes sense because he was the starting center fielder. No, he actually played the third most innings in center field that year. He had a fielding percentage of .951.
Oof.
And go back to 2022, I think it was the other season where he kind of had like the kind of had like a consistent playing at center field, excuse me. I'm going to pull those numbers up as well. So that was back when I thought it was 2022. Was it 2023 maybe? And I just misread the damn thing.
Yeah, because he got called up. He got called up in 23. So he was still playing mostly there in 23, I think.
Yeah. I'm trying to find what the other season was. But from at least from what I remember reading, the story was pretty similar in I think it was the preceding season as well. So again, errors are only one piece of the puzzle. I'm very much acknowledging that, but I do want to just add and contribute to the conversation that having seen that, that may be at least an element because we talk a lot about how not just at the majors, obviously, but once you start to go from AA to AAA, because again, a lot of guys who are in AAA kind of bounce back and forth between the AAA and the majors throughout the season. It's where the term quad A player comes from. So once you start to get up to that level, if you're already struggling at a position, I can maybe start to see at least an element of why/how they came to the decision to make him or to rely on him less at that position, especially as he advanced levels. That would perhaps add some context to the situation. Just something I'm throwing out there based on what I just found.
I think that's fair. I mean, it's just I also wonder. I mean, not that it's an indictment on the coaching staff, but I always remember what Didi said about what he saw in the minors,
Yeah,
out of what they were teaching guys down there and whatnot, and I wonder how much that plays into it of just not having kind of the right kind of coaching staff working with them, if at all.
Kenny jumped in. I just want to give him a shout out real quick, saying, "What's up, fellas? Boom Manager of the Year. I'm calling it now, Kenny. I hope you are right. And glad appreciate you for tuning in. I know it's a late show, but thank you for offering us this slot this evening. Obviously, sort of a pop up show, if you will. But I think you'd agree after that game. How can you not talk about that? We're again, as I emphasized, we were going to talk about the game win or lose, but I don't think you could have asked for much better of a game to wrap up or to recap than that one to start off the season.
Yeah.
But no, I think that your point about Didi, which God, I missed that man. But I think your point about Didi probably holds a decent amount of water as well, to some capacity. And again, like I said, when you make a decision like this, especially about a top prospect, or when you're at least making considerations like this, it's not going to be made off of one thing. It's not going to be made off of his errors number. It's not going to be made off of something that a former player said. There's going to be myriad factors that go into it. And I think that there's a lot of different things that, again, a lot of it we'll probably never know. I mean, shucks, I've been talking about this for God knows how long, and this is the first time I even saw that. And it was because it was because of Baseball Reference, but I mean, even you're going back to your point about swing plane. I mean, to reference, this is going to be a funny reference to make because the guy's not real. But to reference, for those of y'all who know the character Coach Al, who's played by Nick Casano, as he says, if you get your hips into it, and if you swing level and you focus on just making level contact with the ball, and you get your hips into it, the launch angle is going to come. And even though it's hilarious that I'm quoting somebody who's literally not a real person, that is accurate. That is true. And I think that that's where it all kind of ties in together. And it's kind of one of those things where you pull on this lever and this thing also happens. Like it's interconnected. But again, and there Jody goes again. But it's going back to what we said earlier. Yeah, it was a bad night for one player, one specific player, and that was Aaron Judge. That is the only Yankee who had a bad night. And
that's not going to happen the rest of the season because it's Aaron Judge.
Because it's Aaron Judge. This is a guy that we know has been a slow starter for whatever reason. I don't know if it's because his body takes, because of his proportions. I don't know if it takes him a little while to adjust. I don't know if it's his swing mechanics, because again, the guy's got, as they call them, levers. His levers are longer, like literally longer than most players who have ever played Major League Baseball. I don't know if it has to do with that. I genuinely don't know what the situation is, but this is a consistent pattern we've seen with him so far over the past, really since 2017. And a guy who can be that level of, successful offensively and defensively now, throughout his career, who literally is on pace to have historic numbers, not just home runs, but otherwise, even despite the fact that he didn't hit Major League Baseball until he was our age now, 25, 26. And all these things. So, neither of us are going to shy away from the fact that he had a bad night, which obviously, people are going to talk about because one, it's Aaron Judge, two, people like to talk, and three, it was off the heels of that WBC. But it's not out of character for. I'm honestly less concerned about it because it's so in character for him to start slow and then mash up with the rest of the way, starting around like late May, early June. And like I said, would it be ideal, obviously, for the best players to be the best players also 162 games? Of course it was, or of course it would. Excuse me. But if you're gonna tell me Barry Bonds is the greatest player ever, who was a shell of himself when the playoffs came, if you're gonna tell me he's the greatest player ever, then I damn well don't want to hear that Aaron Judge is delegitimized because the guy struggles in friggin' April when there's still snow on the ground in New York. Trevor says, "What's up, boys? Name a Taylor." Oh, for the love of God!
That's a good question to end it.
Name a Taylor Swift song that will describe the Yankee season. I hate to admit this, but I love that question, honestly.
But actually, it's not a bad question.
No, it's not. I actually really like that question and I hate it. But you said he faced an ace in Webb. That's what concerns me is against aces he's underwhelming. Kenny, I don't know if there's even a way to do it, but I'd love to pull the numbers against aces. Like I don't even know how you would do that. It's probably just something that it doesn't actually exist in terms of being able to compart or quantify that. Excuse me. Um, Caffeine's wearing off, but with all of that, but
Well, well, here
go ahead.
here's an interesting thing. If you want Judge's career stats against San Francisco Giants pitchers, well, like his career, I mean, before tonight, his career against Logan Webb, and I remember this because part of this was last year. He destroyed him last year.
Yeah.
In San Fran when he went 6 for 10. But his career numbers coming into tonight, 429 average, 1.984 OPS against Logan Webb.
Yeah, it's
So
it. People are gonna try and say one thing or another. This is interesting. I just found something
you
that
can you
tells
can
me
go team
Aaron.
by actually you can go team by team. So this is
No,
interesting too.
I can do you one better. Let's try that again. I found something that tells me the numbers or the stats against individual pitchers.
Yeah, I,
Like each individual pitcher.
I found it on ESPN too.
Yeah, I
Again,
found it on Sports Reference. So we got Kevin Gosman, 1,300 OPS in 61 plate appearances. So that's not a small sample size. Nate Eovaldi, who's been up there with the Chris Sales of the world in terms of having a late career resurgence. 931 OPS, 41 plate appearances. Chris Sale, actually, no, I'm sorry, not Chris Sale. Charlie Morton, excuse me, who has struggled as he's gotten older, but at one point was, what he was. Almost 900 OPS. I'm just going off of the highest levels of plate appearances. Um, and
I'm just
I could go on. I could go on.
I'm just looking
Are there a
at
good
guys
number
right now.
are there a good number of great pitchers against whom he struggled? Sure, Verlander, Scherzer, newsflash, everybody struggles against those two.
But like
So
again, against guys who are considered like good these days, like
here's one. Tarek Skubal, 412, 1,300 OPS in
oof.
17 plate appearances.
And then and then like another one. Like we always talk about how he's not elite, but he's decent. Like Chris Bassett.
Yeah.
He's at 24 at bats against him, 292 average, 935 OPS.
David Price, 15 plate appearances, 1150 OPS, with 2 homers.
Yeah.
And again, we could go. Your boy over there, Mister Jody Moncrief over there. Framber Valdez, 15 plate appearances, 364 batting average, 897 OPS, and that's without a single home run. Yeah. So
Against Matthew Boyd, 364, 1.381 OPS.
Matthew Boyd is one of the weirdest pitchers in recent memory. That guy
Yeah.
can be that guy can be a number one starter or a number one headache in the same in back-to-back starts.
You're not wrong.
But anyway, Garrett Whitlock, somebody that everybody's telling me is the number 3 starter in baseball all of a sudden behind freaking Skubal and Skeens. 13 plate appearances, 364 batting average, 1371 OPS. We could do this all night long.
Yeah.
But again, could you find a decent number of number one starters? I mean, I named a couple of them against whom he struggles. Sure, of course. Newsflash, it's the case for every player. Shucks. I mean, there are certain players who are elite players who randomly have these like number 4 starters as their bugaboo. It happens.
Barry Bonds didn't crush everybody.
No.
Ken Griffey Jr. didn't crush everybody.
No,
It's
et cetera. That was I remember Greg Maddox, a guy about whom we've spoken quite a bit recently. I remember he randomly talked about a couple of guys who just absolutely had his number for some reason, and they were guys who, I mean, they were decent players, but they're not going to be next to him in Cooperstown.
Yeah.
Bobby Blackjack jumped in. I didn't mean to be disrespectful there. Says Judge was clearly feeling the stress of playing before a team he spurned, plus the last game of the WBC. I mean, to be fair, it wasn't Aaron Judge who was headed to the Giants. It was Arson Judge who appeared headed to the Giants. So,
And not just that, but last year against him, he was 6 for 10 in a 3-game series. So
Um,
he destroyed him last.
and Kenny used Crochet as an example. Again,
Well,
we could go back and forth, but it's
and I'm surprised that Kenny doesn't remember that the one home run, because the one home run, yeah, the Yankees I think lost that game, but that one home run was the top of the ninth inning, I think, with 2 outs,
yeah,
and Judge tied the game. He hit a monster shot over the monster
yeah.
to tie the game at 1. So
Yeah, and yeah, yeah. We kind of, again, like I said, we could go back and forth all night. I do want to get back to Trevor's question though, because that was actually a really fun question about pick a. Let me make sure I got the phrasing correctly on it. Where'd he go? What's up, boys? Name a Taylor Swift song that will describe the Yankees season. Goodness gracious. I'm trying to think for a little bit here, just because there's so much. Like, first of all, there's like a million songs from whom I could choose. But here's a great one. Here's a great one, and it's to our fans. And the song is called "You Need to Calm Down," because I mean, shucks, I did it earlier today. I was cussing about this team on this show after a 7-0 win. That is abnormal behavior, and I'm a Yankees fan, you know. But it's just that, right? There's 162 games. One of the big reasons why my players like Judge and or players like Judge look up to and appreciate the fact that someone like Aaron Boone is the manager, is he's even keel. He's he's not gonna. What do they always say about Jeter? Didn't get too high, didn't get too low. Again, I'm not saying that Boone and Jeter are, don't go running with that comparison. I'm just saying that people spoke highly of that demeanor when it came to somebody like Jeter, and there's a similar element of that. Now, he can get fiery when he has to. I'm really going to miss this year with ABS in tow. I'm really going to miss the fact that he's not going to keep climbing up the ejections ladder as fast, which is disappointing. That always was exciting, but apparently now we got Jose Caballero for that. So as we saw in the playoffs last year, so you have but I think that just fans, myself very much included, find it so easy to think that every pitch, if something goes well, it's, we're so back, chase for 28. Something goes awry, and of course it's, even the best team in history lost 50 games.
yeah.
They won 125 games, they lost 50 games. I in no way have any reason to believe that this team's going to chase the 1998 Yankees.
Yeah.
And excuse me, sorry. Okay, again, 4 strikeouts for Judge. How can you defend? I'm not defending that. I'm saying why it's not the biggest of concerns to me. I'm not defending that. He had a bad night. I said that like 5 different times. I'll look up how to say it in Italian. But this whole thing about I don't even know and I'm gonna see it tomorrow on freaking social media, and I'm not ready for that. But just the fact that this guy has been a cold starter, we deal with this every damn year, including the years in the last few where he won 3 out of 4 MVPs, and a lot of people think he should have won another one back in 2017. He didn't, and that is what it is. We can't pretend that he did. But I'm just saying that all these things happen even these last several years, and he had that level of success. And quite frankly, I think it says a lot about a player that even if it's not over the full 162, he still gets to those totals. If anything, that almost reflects even better on a player, the fact that even if he struggles for the first 20, he still gets in the 50s in terms of home runs and everything else that he does. Because it's obviously he's not a Chris Davis or a Chris Carter. This is somebody who's out there obviously doing a lot more than just hitting bombs, unlike his first year of his career.
Nikki's pissed that you skipped her song, her Taylor Swift song.
Well, it's because this crap keeps coming in, and it's because I keep seeing these silly takes, and these instigation questions, and I take the bait every damn time for some reason. But credit to Jody, he does a good job of getting my goat. Getting my goat because Aaron Judge is the goat. There you go. Nikki says getaway car. I ain't gonna lie, I don't understand the comparison there. I don't know where getaway car has to do with. If you mean this team's gonna like catch momentum and be unstoppable at like a runaway train at one point, maybe I could see that. But I'd love to hear you explain where you're coming from with that one because I'm struggling to see that. Not that I mean it's a good song and I like that you mentioned it. I'm struggling to see where the connection was there.
I can't even think about like as someone who knows Taylor Swift, but only knows her very early career.
Yeah,
I'm not,
which is still probably my favorite era. But go on.
Like I'm not well versed in her music.
Yeah,
but one thing that's definitely for certain, at least just from. At least you know what I think it's very fitting for 4 judges' performance tonight that you would say "Shake It Off." Just because I mean, listen.
I don't even like that song, but I freaking love that you just said that. I don't even like that song, but I freaking love that you just said that.
It's just fitting. It's like because he said every superstar has a tough game like that, but over 5 and then with the 0 for 4, the 4K's golden sombrero. That is tough, but. Game 1, you have a long way to go yet. So literally, Shake It Off makes a lot of sense. But
that was great. That was great.
I don't know about the season though, just because like to me, like I wish I had an answer for like what song of hers that I could say would describe how the season would go, but I wouldn't even know because I mean. Because a lot of her songs to me sound very similar.
You've said that on here, and I know Rob, Nikki, and I have all said some things about that. The Yankees are flying, but they never get far. Okay, I got you now.
I would say honestly, given the fact of this season being the chase for 28.
Yeah.
Just because I know a little bit about the song, I've heard little bits of it, but I never heard the full thing. But I kind of think it makes sense. Endgame.
Nice. Oh, that's a good pull.
I think
impressed.
that
Rob would be impressed.
I'll never forget. Rob asked me one time about, hey, can you name 5 Taylor Swift songs? I said I know 5 songs. I can't name you the titles. No, but everybody knows how I feel about her music. But at the same time, I think that those two. For Shake It Off being for the captain's rough night, game 1, and then for Endgame and kind of seeing the similarities between that and the chase for 28, which has been a long time coming now. I think that's fitting enough. For someone that doesn't really know, someone that doesn't know or care for music like that, I think that's fitting enough.
It is. Actually, I'll add this. Because there were 2 other songs that I thought of while we were having that conversation. The one that better not be fitting this year, one song that better not be fitting this year is "Cruel Summer" because we had that last year.
Yeah.
And the other one I would have loved to. I wish 22 was called 28 because that would have made that song so much more fitting. But what was the other one? Oh, "Blank Space," another song that I don't really love, but there's a blank space up there that we got to fill with the first banner since 2009. Nick. Okay, now she's just referencing every freaking line from that song. It really makes me wish Rob was here now for that segment. It really makes me wish Rob was here now.
The whole damn segment would go 45 minutes.
It damn near almost just did with Nikki and I here. And I love the takes that you had, I gotta say. But one more shout out to Trevor for that question. But which, by the way, we were supposed to be 30 to 45 minutes, and we've gone an hour and 15. I was not doing a good job watching the timer.
I was watching, but I'm like, you know what? When we have such a good conversation going, and when we can talk about so much more than like what the expectations are for the season.
Oh yeah.
After one game, I think that's fun. It's worth.
I'll also be straight up. Restream looks different every time I get on this thing. I couldn't find the timer until just now.
Yeah.
I couldn't find the timer until just now because it normally was in the top right corner of the next to the icons and whatnot. I could not find the timer, and it was right at the top of the screen, right in the perhaps most obvious place it should have been.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so with that, Brandon, do you have anything you want to take us out with? Because the rest we'll talk about tomorrow in the kind of crux of the whole opening day with the rest of the league joining with their first games tomorrow. The conversation about this game being on Netflix will have to wait for tomorrow because I could go another hour and 15 on that. But
yeah, we're gonna probably rip into it. Yeah, we're gonna yeah. If for people that want to hear us rip into Netflix and why that's a pretty bad choice for opening day.
I don't blame Netflix. I blame the people in Major League Baseball who made the decision. Of course, Netflix is going to take the opportunity if it's offered to them.
Yeah. So you'll hear us complain about that tomorrow. But I think, listen, I was still able to catch 90% of the game when my service didn't crap out, my stream didn't crap out. But I think, listen, overall today there are so many positives, and it feels really good to start the season off with not just a win, like if this was like a 5-4 win or 3-2, whatever. Okay, that's one thing. It's a win we could have, but to start the season off with a dominant win is even better. That's just a good kind of way to start for any team. Every team wants to come out the gates swinging, and quite literally, this team did that tonight with the pitching, with the hitting. Kind of not getting into any jams. Also, I mean, when you're shutting down a lineup, that's got Devers, Chapman, and Willie Adames, Luis Ariz. That's not a bad lineup, and they got shut down for 9 innings. So that's actually a really good. Listen, say what you want about the Giants as a whole not being a contender yet. We kind of know that that's probably the case, but those 4 or 5 guys, that is still a really good lineup that can hit. And that doesn't strike out a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And for them to only manage in total, I believe 3 hits tonight is really damn good job. That's a really good job by the Yankees pitching, and it's a good job for the team that for us that we jumped on Logan Webb pretty early, like that. Like it was good to see that this team finally wasn't taking 1,000 strikes like they've been prone to doing over the last few years, and them if this guy likes to be aggressive and get ahead in the count, be ready to swing. And they were tonight. So everything about this game tonight, obviously minus Aaron Judge, but listen, you can't have everything. So unfortunately, somebody's gonna be kind of the outlier there, and unfortunately, it's the captain. But at the same time, he's not even the least of my worries on the team right now. He's the least of my worries in Major League Baseball. It's Aaron Judge. So it's if we're still sitting here in May, maybe, and he's batting 190, then okay,
Yeah, I also love this. I also love this from Jokester Jody over here a few minutes ago, and he said, I forget what was it. He was like, Judge won't hit 300 or 40 home runs or whatever the hell it was. Are you forget? This guy's forgetting that Judge just won the batting title last year, hitting 331.
And Judge, for literally a big man who they thought was only a power hitter to start his career, has batted 300 several times, 300 or better several times already in his career.
They're literally last year, there were 7 qualifier guys who hit 300 or better. Yandy Diaz 300, Trey Turner 304, Pena 304, Springer 309, Bichette and Wilson 311. Aaron Judge, how you doing? 331.
Yeah.
And also, Jody asking, when we have baseball in 2027? I hate to do this, but can we start that? Can we add that to tomorrow's show?
Yeah.
Just because I feel like there's first of all, I want to add Rob's take on that. And I just think there's so much more we could say to that. And I feel bad that we've already basically done double the time we were supposed to. But Jody, the short version is I'm concerned. That's my short version, and I'll give the long version tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
And the last thing, that I'll spin off of what you just said, Brandon, as far as tonight, as much as I love what Max Fried did, and I love what our offense did, obviously, Sans Judge, what I love most might be that 7 outs I think it was 7 outs, 8 outs, excuse me, that the bullpen had to get, because it wasn't our A guys, like it wasn't the Bednars, it wasn't it wasn't
Yeah,
our
it wasn't
Tim,
Cruz, it
Tim
wasn't
Hill,
Hill.
Cruz,
Yeah.
the top dogs. It was Jake Bird, Brent Hadrick, and Camilo Duvall, each of whom were in the minors at some point last year because they were struggling or they were hurt or both. So the fact that those three guys started out the gate the way that they did, I don't know what their seasons have in store for them. Relievers are very volatile, but I like it. I like it. And that's all I'm going to say, because, again, it's one game. I like it. But Jody, we'll talk more about that tomorrow. I really do appreciate that question, and I look forward to turning that more into a topic tomorrow when we have our West Coaster back in, our buddy Rob, who I think is doing some sort of film thing tonight, like he usually is. And I have to apparently monitor all the group chats as well, because Nikki in our Oregon Ducks group chat, I don't know how I ended up in an Oregon Ducks group chat, but in that one, basically saying that we're at 2 different days right now. It's Thursday where you are, and it's still Wednesday where I am. That's amusing. I didn't even think of that, but she is correct. And with that, you got anything else, or should I sign us off?
Yeah, go ahead, because honestly, I could beat the dead horse about this. But listen, it's game one. I'm not gonna go crazy and have like a retrospective about like where we are. Like this isn't June yet. I'm not gonna think about the first 2 months and then think about the rest of the season. I'm gonna one game. All we have is one game right now.
Yeah, it's and that's why I kind of spent this show more doing like the rest of the season than because there's only so much you can unpack about one game, right? Because are we this? Are we that? I don't know. I don't know if this is gonna, if Caballero is gonna become the everyday shortstop and Volpe ends up on the trade block. I don't know if Trent Grisham ends up cementing himself as a long-term outfielder with us, and we end up trading for. I don't know what if any of these things mean anything yet. All I know is what today was. And with that, thank you everybody for tuning in. We got a lot of traction tonight. Especially for so late in the day, particularly out east. So thank you everybody for tuning in. A lot of familiar faces, and a couple of people who tuned in particularly late where they are. So thank you everybody for there. Brandon, thanks for jumping on and doing the show about 3 times as long as either one of us expected. But it's par for the course with us, especially when it comes to baseball. We're celebrating tonight, and we spread the news tonight, and we've got a lot to unpack tomorrow when we get our third musketeer back. Our Musketeer. I'm trying to make Mariners into Musketeer. It's not working. That's how you know that the show's gone on long enough. So we'll see you guys back tomorrow with him in tow. Until then, have a nice evening. And I don't have. I'm not going to be able to do the Scoop Time Scoop channel because we'll be back in less than 24 hours. But with that, y'all have a nice evening and have a great opening day. Good luck, everybody, except for Red Sox, Orioles, Rays, and Blue Jays fans. Good night.
Night, everybody.